The cobblestones of Ashton Fylde glistened like obsidian teeth under a sky bruised with the promise of a coming storm. A raw wind whipped through the throngs of villagers, their faces etched with a mix of anticipation and fear that mirrored the churning sky. Today was the day of the mob football match, an annual clash that transcended mere sport, a crucible of village pride, a test of mettle, and a dance with fate itself. Legends, passed down through generations in hushed whispers around crackling hearths, spoke of the game's origins. Some claimed it was a brutal echo of Roman invaders and their barbaric game Harpastum. Others murmured of forgotten pagan rituals, a chaotic offering to appease unseen forces that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. Whatever its genesis, by the 14th century, mob football had become a terrifying and ubiquitous phenomenon that gripped the English countryside. Imagine a scene ripped from Hieronymus Bosch's fever dream. Two rival villages, Ashton Fylde and their sworn enemies, the burly salt-stained men of Whitby, stood on either side of a muddy field, a wasteland churned to a sticky brown paste by countless previous battles. No lines demarcated the pitch, only the primal instinct to win. No referee stood to enforce the non-existent rules. The only law was the desperate need to propel a misshapen pig's bladder, inflated with the very breath of defiance, across the battlefield. Its bloated form, stitched together with rough twine, resembled a grotesque parody of a playful ball. A deathly silence hung in the air, broken only by the nervous coughs of a young boy clutching his mother's hand. Then, with the deafening clang of the church bell tolling noon, a collective roar erupted, shattering the tense calm. The crowd surged forward, a tide of humanity crashing against humanity. Fists met faces, boots connected with bone in a sickening symphony of pain. The pig's bladder, tossed into the maelstrom, became a grotesque trophy, a symbol of ultimate victory. William Wild Bill Fletcher, a blacksmith from Ashton Fylde, a mountain of a man with beard the colour of burnt umber and eyes that held the glint of a cornered wolf, charged into the fray. He bulldozed through a thicket of Whitby men, his roar echoing across the field. But a massive figure, known as Big Ben of Whitby, a fisherman renowned for his bear-like strength, emerged from the throng. They clashed, titans locked in a brutal ballet of desperation. The air turned thick with the cloying scent of sweat and blood. Screams of pain mingled with the guttural roars of exertion. Whitby man went down, his leg twisted at an unnatural angle. A sickening crack echoed through the already chaotic scene. But the battle raged on, fueled by a primal urge that transcended reason. Suddenly, a booming voice cut through the din. It was Old Man Thomas, the village elder, his weathered face etched with the wisdom of years. He held aloft a makeshift white flag, a tattered sheet stained with the blood of previous battles. A hush fell over the crowd, the fighting momentarily ceasing. Old Man Thomas spoke, his voice hoarse but filled with a quiet dignity. He spoke of the futility of the bloodshed, of the need to channel their fierce spirit towards a more constructive purpose. His words, laden with the weight of experience, hung heavy in the air. A tense silence followed. Then, an unexpected thing happened. A young boy from Whitby, barely 10 years old, stepped forward. He held a deflated pig's bladder in his hand, a single red poppy tucked between the rough stitches. He looked at the boy from Ashton Fylde, his eyes mirroring the fear and confusion. A hesitant smile spread across the young Ashton Fylde boy's face. He mimicked the action, tucking a white daisy into his own bladder. A ripple went through the crowd, whispers turning into murmurs of agreement. Slowly, weapons were lowered, replaced by weary but relieved expressions. The pig's bladder, once a symbol of savage rivalry, was transformed. It became a vessel of peace, a testament to the power of human connection, even in the most unlikely of circumstances. As the storm finally unleashed its fury, washing away the blood and the mud, a new tradition was born. The annual mob football match continued, but with a twist. It became a test of skill, a more controlled expression of the raw passion that once threatened to consume them all. The legacy of mob football lives on in the shadows of the modern game. The fierce rivalries that ignite stadiums today trace their lineage back to those muddy fields. The desperate tackles, The ecstatic celebrations after a last-minute goal echoes of a bygone era where the beautiful game was born not from elegance and grace, but from a primal dance between order and chaos, and a community's unyielding spirit that, for a fleeting moment, chose peace over the intoxicating lure of bloodshed. The pig's bladder, once a grotesque prize, evolved into the sleek leather ball of today. Yet, a whisper of the game's brutal past remains. The very term football, some scholars argue, might be a holdover from those ancient times, a chilling reminder of the brutal foot that often met ball in the throes of the mob football melee. The next time you witness the balletic grace of a world-class footballer weaving past defenders, or the sheer power unleashed in a thunderous strike, remember the muddy fields of Ashton Fildey. Remember the raw, untamed passion that birthed the beautiful game. Remember the day a single red poppy and a white daisy, tucked into misshapen bladders, bloomed amidst the chaos, offering a fragile hope for a future where victory wouldn't be measured in blood, but in skill and a shared love for the sport. The legacy of mob football lies not just in the ferocity of the past, but also in the enduring human spirit that yearns for connection, even in the most unexpected places, on the most unexpected of battlefields.